Do you remember racking up books on your library card just to get a trip to Pizza Hut?
Do you remember the pride you felt when you handed the waiter your certificate for your very own personal pan pizza?
If you remember the excitement you felt when you clipped that purple pin on your jean jacket, you might remember the Book It program, and you might be a Xennial. Hi, everyone. I'm Dani. Oh, goodness.
I felt that coming. I felt edit that out. Hold on. And I'm Katie, and welcome to Generation in Between, a Xennial podcast where we revisit, remember, and sometimes relearn all kinds of things from our 80s childhoods and 90s teen young adulthoods.
Yeah, and today, if you have not guessed, we are talking about the beloved reading incentive program, Book It, sponsored by Pizza Hut, that so many 80s and 90s kids fondly remember and is still around, everyone. I did not know that. Our friend
Me either.
Jonathan told us that. He still has one of his Book It buttons.
Yeah.
He brought it into Katie's studio and he's like, yeah, it's still around. Sure is. And we'll talk about it later. But
Cool.
But before we do that,
Yes.
we have some circle backs to get to. I have one.
Okay.
That's funny. If you need to keep looking up your info, go for it.
Okay.
So for those of you that don't listen to our Dawson's Creek episode, I'll give you a little brief thing of what I'm about to circle back to. Dawson's parents in this his mom had an affair.
Mm-hmm.
His parents are divorcing, and the dad moves out of their big beautiful house. So I said,
"Ooh, I think I know what you're gonna." I think I know what this is about.
I know that Katie.
I don't know
so
what
excited.
you're gonna say, but I think I know what this is about.
So I said that's bullshit. That he moved out when she was the one who fucked it all up. And I said, I'm damn telling you straight. My husband, if I walked my little butt around with some other man, he'd be like, goodbye, get out of our nice house. You can go live in a sad hotel. Katie did not think that I was right. So I went and asked him. I told him, I said, hey, I want to see what you say to this. So I told him the whole story and he said, oh, 1000% you'd be gone.
Okay.
See? 22 years. I know that man.
You know.
Also, don't think he's terrible because I would do the same thing. Like,
sure.
You mess around on me. Goodbye.
Sad
and
hotel for you.
Will tell everybody the nonsense you did to me.
Yeah.
I am not about keep it in the family. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Don't be doing stuff that you don't want people to know about. Anyway, Katie, so there you go. I was right.
All right. I love it. And look, hopefully we never have to find out for real.
Right.
All hypotheticals.
Also, y'all should know, a lot of you don't listen to our Dawson's Creek episode because you're like, I don't care. Like, I didn't watch that show. But we do talk about some other things.
Like that.
Like
for example.
So there are some fun conversation pieces that you may be missing out on if you don't listen to Dawson's. All right.
Exactly.
So Katie has some circle backs.
Yes, I do. Okay, so Face on the Milk Carton. The episode, if you haven't listened, it's in our feed. We also talked about the made-for-TV movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the book and the movie and just the whole cultural phenomenon that was Faces on Milk Cartons. So I sort of glossed over the cast list in the TV movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Kelly Martin was in it. We had a nice long discussion about her. Well, one of our new listeners, Anthony.
Yeah. It's his second call out. Look at that.
2 in a row. Also, I guess must have gone on YouTube and watched the made for TV movie or somehow.
Yeah.
And he was telling Dani, oh my God, it has all these great people in it. And so I had to go back because there were a few people I didn't mention. So for example, her non-biological mother was played by Jill Clayburgh, who actually has won. She's won 2 awards and been nominated for an Oscar twice. The award she won. Oh, she won for Golden Globes, it looks like. Anyway, you won't know based on her awards, but I'm on IMDb right now. You would know her face if you saw her. Most recently, she was in Bridesmaids, but in the 80s and 90s, she was in like all sorts of stuff on TV and movies. So she was in Face on the Milk Carton. It popped right up. That's really funny.
So she's like a TV movie pro, like a lot of people.
A lot of these are TV movies,
but the biggest one was the dad.
Right. So she was the mom. Then the dad is Edward Herman.
You guys, he played Max in Lost Boys.
Yes.
Which Katie has never seen.
Never seen.
It is one of my favorite movies ever, which they're making into a Broadway musical.
Are they really?
Yes, and
Ooh.
I have to get to New York to see that. Anyway, so in October, that's our first
That'll be the first
thing
one.
we're doing.
Lost
Lost Boys.
And he was on the show How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yeah.
He is a voice on American Dad.
Yeah, y'all know this man.
You would know him if you saw him. So those are just a few. There were a few others on there. If you haven't watched it yet, you'll probably like watch it like me and be like, oh, that person looks incredibly familiar.
Yeah.
Because really everybody in the cast either was already in a lot of TV movies or somewhat well known, or they became so later on.
Yeah.
So that was my circle back.
Love it.
Love.
So we got all the info now.
Yeah, we got it all.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready for
you
Book
ready
It.
to talk about Book
I'm
It?
ready.
Before I give you all the facts and not figures, because I don't do math. Katie, do you remember Book It?
I do.
Did you do it at school?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I was homeschooled from third
that's
to
right.
6th grade. Not that you can't do Book It at home.
Well, back then you couldn't. You can now.
So no, I probably didn't.
Yeah,
by the
because you would
time
have
I
been
was
the prime
in
age.
7th grade, I probably didn't.
I forgot you were homeschooled.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the program, but I must have not participated.
Well, you guys know that I ate so much fast food as a kid, and my school 100% did this, and I have fond memories. And the thing is, I was already a big reader, so it was just an added bonus for me because, like, I was already going to read 5 books or whatever. Like, I read all the time, so I'm like, oh, I get prizes for something I already do, and it's pizza. Let's go. So, okay. So you probably don't know about all the details. You know, it's an incentive program for reading.
Yeah, exactly. And you would get the personal pan pizza and all of that.
Yeah.
I remember all of that.
So here, basically, for people who don't know what Book It is a reading incentive program for pre-K all the way up to 6th grade. And it's for classrooms, it's for parents, and homeschool now.
Okay.
It didn't used to be. When it first started, it was just for classrooms. And it's a classroom specific. I think I couldn't find enough information on this. They used to have maybe like a school-wide thing, but the classroom teacher is the one who has to register for it and keep track of it and all that.
Okay.
So it's like a individual class thing. So primary classroom teachers, they set monthly reading goals for their students based on reading levels. And here's what I like. They get to choose for each kid based on their reading abilities and where they are in their little learning journey. If it's either the number of pages read, the number of books read, or the number of minutes that you read. Because like for a kid like me, you're not going to like who read all the time, pages or minutes is a really bad decision.
Right.
So, number of books. But for somebody who maybe is not a voracious reader like me, telling them to read 5 books is, a little outlandish. But if you say, hey, sit down and read for 15 minutes, 5 times, then you get your thing. So anyway, I like that. Nowadays, so once you hit your goal, you got a little certificate, and that's what you brought to Pizza Hut to redeem for your free personal pan pizza.
Yes.
But nowadays, everything is digital.
Okay.
So no more buttons.
Oh.
Although, if you go to Book It's Instagram feed, they have a merch link, and you can go buy like t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that.
That's kind of cool.
But no buttons. But you can find them on Etsy. They do, like, people do make them, and eBay.
That's not like
I know.
the same as earning it through the program.
I know. So the program runs October 1st through March 31st each year, and students can earn a total of 6 certificates in the year.
So 6 pizzas? 6 personal pan pizzas? Wow. Okay.
But you can earn more. They didn't used to have a limit, and we'll talk about that later.
Oh.
But now you can only get up to 6 because, like I said, it was kind of unfair. And then you can be dishonest and
sure.
Anyway, so I'm going to read for you Book It's mission statement, and then we're going to get into like the timeline and little facts. Okay. Honestly, here's something I'll tell you, spoiler alert. There was not a lot of drama that I found about this program. Not a lot of deep, dark secrets. Not a lot of deep dives I could go on. Like I texted Katie at 9:15 last night. I was like, well, I'm done. like, because I hadn't had a chance to like really dig into it. And I was like, okay, I'm good. There's not a lot of
Not a lot out
craziness.
there. Okay.
But here we go. So, since 1984, the Pizza Hut Book It program has been dedicated to encouraging reading in schools nationwide. And we know that to make a difference, you really have to read your heart out. Trademark after that. Read your heart out, I guess, is their tagline.
What?
See, trademark.
Read your heart out. Isn't that doesn't seem like that would be a
I know.
trademarked phrase.
Whatever.
Okay, Pizza Hut.
Our work is more than just a corporate mission. It's a personal challenge to turn have to read into want to read, and our time tested incentives work. We are the largest and longest running corporate supported reading program, and now we are fostering the second generation of program alumni. We know that reading makes a difference. So that's their mission statement.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's pretty straightforward. It was started in 1984, like I just said, and it was actually created by Pizza Hut.
Okay, that was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah.
Like, why Pizza Hut? And like, which maybe you'll get into, but like, if you're this company, like, why in 1984 are you suddenly like, let's promote literacy?
Well,
Yes.
I will tell you the information.
Oh, yay. Good.
So, something that's interesting, I think, with humans in general, especially Americans, because of our culture of individualism, a lot of times we don't think of things until it hits close to home.
Yeah.
So that relates to the Book It program because the idea actually came about when the Pizza Hut president at the time, whose name was Art Gunther, was having dinner with another Pizza Hut executive named Bud Gates. They were on a double date with their wives and they were talking about kids. And Gunther started or whatever, Mr. Gunther, there you go, started talking about his young son who was having trouble learning to read. And so they were just kind of talking and brainstorming, and they were like, hey, what if Pizza Hut gave kids pizza as a way to encourage them to read? And they were thinking, oh, it'll help the kids, but it will also bring in money from hungry parents and siblings, meaning we're helping, but hello, making money, capitalism with a cause.
Right. Like, yes, you could just probably go in and get this personal pizza, but like most people aren't.
Right.
They're buying it for the whole family.
Because I mean, a lot of I will say, like, a lot of restaurant chains do this now where they reward for honor roll, not for reading, but for good grades. Like, we have so many like certificates to like Texas Roadhouse and whatever. And like, it's great. I love it. But yes, it means we all go, we all spend the money. Like, I'm not just going to take my youngest to Texas Roadhouse and watch him eat.
Right.
You know?
And I think they usually say dine in only as well.
Correct.
So like you can't get it to go.
Now, I think with Pizza Hut, you can now order it digitally.
It makes sense though now because there aren't a lot of dine in opportunities for Pizza Hut anymore.
I know. Well, since we're talking about that, can we just pause for a moment? I wrote this in my notes so I would not forget. Can we talk about Pizza Hut in the 80s?
Yes.
Let's talk like that whole, you guys need to understand. Pizza Hut was like a sit down restaurant. There were waiters.
Yep.
They had these amazing lights. Do you remember like the Tiffany style
Tiffany
lights?
style. Yep.
The red cups.
Still can like feel
them
because
the
they were like the grainy. Yeah.
They were like bumpy.
Uh-huh.
And like you would go there, you would sit down, or I still remember it was so long ago that it was a smoking restaurant, like a smoking section and non-smoking.
I remember that too.
But do you remember their salad bar?
Yes. Even in adulthood, I found a few.
Really? They still have it?
They used until maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years now. Time's flying. There was still a sit-down Pizza Hut down near where we live in Indy Atlantic. And it has closed now, but you walked in there, it was like walking into the 80s. Like the lights,
I love it.
And they had the salad bar at lunchtime. It was like a lunchtime special.
Oh, yeah.
You could come do the salad bar and they had like a pizza buffet and stuff like that. And I went just a couple years ago.
Yeah, you guys, those of y'all that remember, y'all remember. Like, yeah. I can still smell it. I also, when I was graduated from college and I was teaching, funny joke there. I lived right across the street, like literally from a Pizza Hut.
Oh,
Like
wow.
you would turn on a side street. My janky apartment was on one side and the Pizza Hut was literally right there.
Wow.
So like, so I ate there so much.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't eat Pizza Hut for like decades.
Oh, I bet.
But it was like that. It was super like, I mean, it was like rural northern Louisiana.
Yeah.
It was like retro, but their salad bar was never open.
It kind of
It's
got to
never
that
open.
point. There was one near where I grew up in Indiana too that I think might still be there because I feel like we took our kids just a couple years ago when we were visiting. But same thing, like you get excited for the salad bar and it's not open.
Yes.
And after COVID, I don't think they're ever
I
open.
know.
Even if they still exist places, I don't think that they ever reopened those.
Yeah. I mean, like it was a big deal, guys. Going to Pizza Hut was an event. It was an event.
And it was just like you'd go after baseball
Yeah.
games or like even chorus performances or
Thank you
whatever.
for throwing that in there since I
had
didn't
to.
play sports.
I didn't play baseball either, but
You
I
played
remember
something.
I remember going with my brothers though.
But you played a sport, yeah?
No.
I
I mean,
thought you did.
I ran, I
Okay,
guess.
well, that's a sport.
Yeah.
She said I
Not
ran,
in high
I guess.
school. Not in high school. In
Oh, I thought you
junior high.
did.
No, I didn't play a sport in high school.
Okay. I
No.
thought you did. Anyway, sorry. All right.
But yeah, it was like, yes, you would go with your family, but also it was like where the groups would go.
Yeah.
Partly because of the salad bar, partly because even now pizza's the easiest way to like feed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it was the experience. You'd go to the Pizza Hut.
And I think they were the first pizza chain to have personal pan pizzas. I think they were the first ones. And they would come out. Remember, it'd come out in that little pan.
Yes.
Oh my God, you felt so important.
Yeah. It almost looked like I don't think it was cast iron, but I think it was. It was cast iron.
I think it was.
Yeah, and it had a little handle.
Yes,
and you get your little piece out of it. Yeah, it was delicious.
It was the best. So so that's how the idea came about. So they were brainstorming, and they were like pizza to encourage kids to read. So then they brainstormed even more and said, what if we had whole classrooms do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then they also like for the positive peer pressure aspect of it, like oh, everybody's doing it.
Sure.
So I want my pizza. And then they said, what about whole schools? And it said when they were originally talking about it, if entire classes did it, they could even get pizza parties. Now, I don't remember that, and I couldn't find anything about that phasing out. But you remember the big pizza party deal in the 80s and 90s?
Sure.
That was like a big deal when you would earn that.
If you met a reward, you would get the pizza party.
Yeah.
And whether that was actually funded by Pizza or like your teacher took it out of their budget or the school or something for some reason.
It was a big day.
It was a big day. I mean, we just did a show here at my studio, the big day. We did a poster contest and it was a pizza party if we met our goal. And the kids were like so excited.
Listen, you tell me pizza party, I'm in. Y'all invite me, I'm coming.
Me too. I'll hang those posters or read those books or whatever I gotta do.
I'm coming for any kind of party with some food. You know what I hate? I am really, really having intentional problems this morning, everybody. Can I tell you though, just a side note before we continue, I really hate when you get invited to a party or like a dinner thing and they don't have enough food.
Yeah.
That is like, or it's like just little bitty bits. So you're scared to take. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're scared to take what you want for your belly because you're like, there's like hardly any shit here. So Troy always laughs at me because when I have party, also I'm from South Louisiana. We don't know how to have parties without way too much stuff.
Too much.
We just don't. But that's why. It's because there's nothing worse than or I also hate when there's not like drink options. So like I can't stand it when I go and all they have is like alcohol for adults or water. It's like, hello, not everybody drinks. And I think I'm very aware to that because I have recovering alcoholics in my family. And so, but because like you want a fun drink and you don't drink often. So it's like you want a fun drink. I don't want just water and everybody else that's having 600 cocktails. You know what I mean?
Right.
Have an option. Have some fun, sparkling, whatever. Anyway, so have enough food at your party or I'm not coming.
Or have Dani plan your party.
I'll do it.
She's quite good at it.
I mean, not really, but I won't cook for you. But
no, plan.
Yes.
Tell you what to buy or get. Or
I'm good with themes. So all right. Anyway, so they launched the program, and within 11 months of launching Book It, more than 7 million kids were using it.
11 months in?
11 months in,
Wow.
with about 233,000 classrooms across the nation.
Dang.
It caught on quick.
That is wild. How
Yeah.
do you happen to know how they promoted it? Did they
I don't.
literally go into schools? Did they
I don't.
You
I
don't
don't.
know.
I didn't really see much
Okay.
about that. But this was in like the Reagan era. Okay. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the weeds on that, guys, but where he was urging corporate America to get involved in education.
Yeah.
So we have lots of emotions and feelings around that topic, but I had to throw that in there. He was actually a big supporter of the program.
Okay.
He even like wrote them a letter.
Pizza Hut?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And said, like, I congratulate you
Oh, wow.
on your success. And so he was a fan, so I'm sure that helped,
Yeah, sure.
you know.
Well, and like we always talk about on the show, how everything was just so much more mainstream if something was big than it is now. Like if there was like a really popular band,
Yeah.
it's because that's the only one you heard
Right.
or whatever. And I'm not saying like Pizza Hut was the only pizza place, but
Well, there
it
wasn't that many pizza chains then.
true.
There really wasn't.
True. True. And so and I also feel like pizza and still today is just an affordable option
Oh, yeah, it
too.
is.
So if you've got a bunch of kids, whether they're in your classroom or your house or your little league team, I keep going back to baseball.
I know. What is up with is it baseball season? Yes. I should know that. I had kids that played travel baseball. It is.
Okay.
Anyway, obviously
Anyway,
they
but
don't anymore,
yes,
thank God.
but like it was kind of like if something caught on, it like really caught on.
I wonder what else you're going to talk about baseball for. Maybe I'm not the only one with focus problems this morning. Who knows?
You know what? I think not. I'm gonna grab my coffee and see if I can get some cognition going.
I'm also
here.
drinking black coffee, which I hate, but I don't like to have it until I've had something in my belly, and I wasn't hungry yet. So this is sad coffee.
So my coffee, I don't even want to show you because it's
I'm
kind
gonna
of
throw up.
No,
What
you're
is
not
it?
gonna throw up.
Oh,
So,
why is there lumps in it?
there are. It's not milk, I promise. It's my son's birthday, which we're not going to get in the weeds on that because he turned 18 and I already cried a lot today. Which is probably another reason I'm just like, ugh, and sorry everyone. I keep talking about baseball, which my son's never played, so I don't know what's going on. But I went out early this morning, got Dunkin' Donuts.
Nice.
So I dipped my blueberry donut in my coffee.
I was gonna say, is there birthday cake in your coffee?
No, but might as well be. So so then you eat the donuts like soaked in coffee, but there's little pieces of donut that like sloughed off.
It's an added surprise.
Yeah, it's delicious.
It's delicious donut coffee.
Yes.
Way better than this poo-poo.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I wasn't hungry. I even brought my breakfast in the thermos so I can eat it in between.
See, look.
But I could not wait for the coffee.
Donut.
That's actually kind of gross. I wish you wouldn't have shown me that.
Okay, I'll eat it really
Now
good.
she's eating it. Oh,
it's
gross.
a piece of donut. It's just soggy.
That's going on our socials, that video clip.
Okay, well.
All right. So anyway, 1985 is when those purple logo buttons debuted.
Yes.
Okay. We all have seen them. Even if you didn't live in that time, you have seen that bucket logo button. Yeah. The first ones had like spots on it for star stickers.
Okay.
So once you finished a book, your teacher would put a star on the button to like fill. It was like an outline for a star.
Got it.
So once you had, I think there were 5. Once you had 5 stars on your button, then you got your little certificate. You could take your little booty to Pizza Hut and get your thing.
Got it.
But then in later years, they were just decorative. You didn't put stickers on it. They were just like fun ones. But that's how they started. They were phased out in the early aughts when everything went digital. Sad.
That is sad.
I know. They need to bring back the bucket buttons. Bring it back. Let's start a campaign.
And not like merch that we have to buy on Instagram. Like earn the buttons. It's reminding me of just like punch cards. You know, like you used to have, which also a lot of that's gone digital now too, like rewards programs through apps and stuff instead. But where like you would do something or buy something, you get a punch and another punch and another punch until your card was full. And then you get the free whatever. Yeah. Most places don't really do that way anymore.
Yeah. I also think we need adult bucket programs.
That'd be awesome.
Also, along those lines, maybe, okay, Hunt, I know you're listening.
He is.
So this summer, I told Katie, we need to like reread some Xennial classics this summer and talk about them. We should have a Xennial book club this summer.
I love it.
and get Hunt to make buttons, and everybody who reads the books with us will get shipped a button.
I love that.
Okay. Hunt, don't let us forget.
So we'll get our schedule going and let everyone know
tell
which
everybody
books
in
they're going to
advance.
need and what order we're going to read and talk about them.
Oh,
Everybody
adult
gets a
bucket.
button.
Button generation
Should
in
we
between
call
book
it
club. I don't know. We'll figure out that
Xennial
later.
Book Club or
No,
Xennial
that's-
Bucket.
We'll think of something fun.
Okay.
We'll
and
think
if
of
you have we'll pick the books at some point, but if you have suggestions.
I do.
You texted me a few good ones.
I know. I already said Flowers in the Attic and anything by Judy Blume.
Yeah.
I mean anything. We've got to probably Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret. That's the one we need to read.
Probably.
I think that's it.
I love that book.
And then we'll figure it out. Anyway.
We'll go from there.
All right.
Okay.
So that's when the buttons came out. A woman named Phyllis. I could not find her last name.
Weird.
Because I read about her in a blog article interview where this guy actually had dinner with Bud Gates, who was the Pizza Hut executive, and just kind of wrote about his like conversation with her. So it didn't have her last name. And then I was like Googling Phyllis Book It program, and it wasn't coming up. As often happens, women don't get the credit they deserve. So Phyllis, whatever your last name is, we're talking about you. So she actually became in charge of the program, which was weird. I couldn't find her name, but it drew on her experience.
That is weird.
I know. It drew on her experience as a librarian. So she's the one who came up with some innovative approaches, like allowing kids to be rewarded for minutes spent reading or per book. Because when it started, it was just per book.
Right. And I could see how that would be the default, but it makes sense that it would take like a librarian who works with children.
I mean, if you struggle with reading, I mean, I have never struggled with reading and my kids haven't, but you know, a lot of kids do.
Yeah.
You know,
Did your computer die?
No.
Oh no.
It just,
she back.
Girl, I was scared. My computer went black and y'all know my luck with technology. I was like, great. But leave it to a woman to think of the details like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're leaving some kids out here.
Totally. And if the whole point is to, like you said, turn the need to read into the want to read, if you feel overwhelmed by 5 books that you're never going to get to, you just won't try. So
here is something I hate with the accelerated reader program they have in a lot of schools. Mm-hmm. Do we have those here? Did you just get a chunk of donut?
This is getting to be too much. We're done. We're done with the coffee.
That face. She was like, "Ooh!" It's like a big chunk of donut in her coffee.
Right, we're good.
So we've lived, you know, in various states in the United States, and some schools had the AR program, some didn't. What I really hated was the schools we were in that made it required.
The advanced reader program.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or accelerated.
Accelerated. Sorry. Yes.
I think and what would happen, so when we moved, I don't even remember where we lived. Like I said, I'm a big reader. Both of my kids were really voracious readers. Caden slowed down a bit in teenage land, as happens, and then hopefully he'll come back to it.
Yeah.
But he read all the time. And what ended up happening, nobody told him that however many AR minutes or tests you take that year creates your goal for the next year.
Oh no.
Which is, I get it. That's accommodating, you know, your abilities and levels. So he read like 500 minutes or something. It was a big number. So the next year he had to get like 600 minutes when everybody else in his class only had to get 100. Well, he was so stressed out.
Oh.
Because then he's like, well, but this one book I want to read is this, and this, and I have to take so many tests and la, la, la. It was so stupid. So then I thought, well, that's even a disservice to somebody on the opposite end of the stick.
Yeah, exactly.
Because anyway,
yeah.
I think I like the 3 options that I mentioned in the beginning: minutes, pages, or books.
Yes.
And I think you should be able to switch them around. I don't think you should just pick one, and then, you know, because you know, things change and reading abilities change and vary and etc. Anyway, so that's my little feeling on that. But so that was 1985. A few years go by. 1988 Book It program had a little appearance on a show called Small Wonder.
I love that show.
For those of y'all that don't remember, that show came up in our,
I think it was TV theme songs, because I sang it and you were like,
I was like, what is that? TV theme songs. Yeah, that was a fun episode. So if
She's
y'all,
a small wonder, lovely and something and something.
wow,
Something. And then it goes, and she'll make your dreams come true.
she was a robot, right?
She was a robot.
Yeah, I actually did look it up on Google after that. I was like, what a weird ass show, but it was so 80s.
People love it.
I know.
People loved it.
And it is a cult
I
like
am
hit.
people.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So anyway, Book It had a little appearance on Small Wonder. So, and also shout out to our TV theme song episode. Go listen to it.
That
You
was
will
fun.
crack up laughing. We need to do another one of those sometime
I was
soon.
just thinking there were so many. We should do another one.
Yeah, we need
And
another.
we could flip because didn't you do 90s and I did 80s? Is that how we did it?
Yeah.
So we could flip. I could do 90s. You could do 80s. Ones we haven't done yet.
Yeah, because
you whistled.
I did the X-Files. Wait, and I did 90210. Da-na-na-na.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got that one. I didn't get X-Files.
Oh yeah, because I did. All right, moving on. What an episode.
We'll do another one, yes.
Okay. So same year, 1988, October 3rd, Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton
Okay, Bill.
actually issued an official proclamation to declare a Book It Day because he liked the program so much. He believed the program was an effective tool in motivating elementary students to read, direct quote.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I mean,
yes,
I feel like it is. I mean, it worked well and it's still working, or it wouldn't still be around. So a year later, 1989, National Young Readers Day was established with the help of Pizza Hut in the Center for the Book in the Library of Congress.
Cool.
So Pizza Hut worked with the Library of Congress. Yeah, National Young Readers Day, which they still celebrate at school. They have like a readathon day sometimes. Yeah. So I mean, part of me, I'm conflicted so far at this point in my research because I'm like, all right, I don't like corporations being involved in public education unless you're just giving them money.
Yes, then pass it along.
But I do feel like this was a positive thing.
It really was, and that's what I was just thinking. Like the obviously commercialism side, right? Like we already talked about, but then Pizza Hut doesn't have to go the extra mile and be like, sure, we'll help establish this National Readers Day and work with it. They could just be like, no, like our program's our program, go away.
We're making money off them.
So
Guardians.
the fact, because like you just said, that day still exists. So they were establishing something culturally that would outlive its program, even though it's still going. But in theory, right?
Yeah.
That National Young Readers Day. So that to me, goes above commercialism and is actually a service to the community.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we'll talk more about like some of the issues that people have seen with this program, but there's not many. Excuse me. 1997, Book It is on the World Wide Web. They debuted their website.
Let's go.
Big deal. That means you're a big deal. And then I'm just giving you a bunch of dates now and just showing you how not only has it continued, but it's like continued to like invest in young readers in different ways.
Cool.
So 2001, they actually partnered with the U.S. Department of Education to promote summertime reading to prevent that summer slide that happens to kids. And it's called Camp Book. Or maybe it's Camp Book It. Maybe I forgot a word there.
Camp Book. Camp Book.
But it's parents do it through a digital platform.
Okay.
Parents or guardians, not teachers, and it goes through June through August.
Okay.
So they created that. Bless you.
You're already distracted. You got me like choking on donut coffee and sneezing, and I don't know. I coughed at the beginning of the episode. Yes. How dare I? Yeah, Can't Book It.
Can't Book It. Okay, I missed a word. Oh, she had to make sure she corrected me. Yes. Yeah, thank you.
We good.
All right. So then this hit close to home for me in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Rita struck. They donated more than 250,000 books to victims through the Book It program.
Wow. Cool.
Because those are things you don't think of. Like if you've never been part of a natural disaster, like you don't understand the big reach, right? You think, and I don't know if it was just like kids or if
Mhm.
it was schools as well or
Right.
libraries. I'm not sure. I didn't go in the weeds there. But you don't think about like, oh, well now schools are wiped out. There's no books. There's no nothing. You have to start over
Yeah.
completely. So anyway, so that was something they did to help, I'm assuming schools.
Yeah.
And then in 2007, I have never heard of this and I'm so embarrassed as a self-professed bookworm. And I want to see if you've heard of this.
Okay.
America's Biggest Bedtime Story. It's an annual
No.
webcast.
Okay.
Um, it was established in 2007 by the Book It program, and it was to encourage parents to read to their children at home at night.
Cute.
Well, I keep saying parents, but I need to say parents or
Yeah.
guardians. Um,
The grown-ups in their
yeah, the
lives.
adults in the kids' lives. And so what they do, they get a big celebrity to read a kid's book on a webcast. Their first one they did in 2007 had John Lithgow.
Oh, fun.
And I forgot the name of the book. He was the first. They had Justin Bieber a few years later, and he broke a record. He has had the most views
Of
because
course.
that was like right in Bieber fever era.
Yeah.
And then they had Tim Tebow on
Okay.
there right before he got signed to his team, whatever. I don't really like Tim Tebow. Sorry. Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion, but whatever.
I wonder if he played baseball. Just kidding. He probably did. He's
Who
such an
knows?
athlete. Anyhow.
All right. So they established that. So
Okay.
to encourage
That's
bedtime
cool.
reading. Yeah. And then in this I just threw in because like I said, if you have never done the program, you've seen the logo.
Mhm.
In 2009, Urban Outfitters actually requested the rights for the logo so they could print it on shirts and stuff. So that's when it kind of came back into
Got
the pop culture zeitgeist of.
And they did it in like a retro way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because everything comes back, guys. Look at our podcast. That's all we do.
Hello. Yeah.
That's all we do.
And we're so glad.
I know.
We're so
I
glad.
mean, hey. And like I said, you can still buy stuff directly from Book It if you want. We do follow them now on Instagram. I was
Yay.
like, they have an Instagram? Let's go.
Let's do it.
Anyway, so the 40th anniversary of Book It was last year. I mean, 40 years.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It is.
And I read an article by this New York journalist, New York Times journalist. She went and interviewed Book It alums.
Cool.
So like people our age or probably a little younger too. They had Pizza Hut sponsored like a pop-up event, and you could go in for Book It alums, and you could go in and get like a little pizza. And so she went and like camped out there and interviewed people just to see like, and all she had was positive things said. Like,
wow.
People loved it. And a lot of people said it really sparked their love of reading that has continued into adulthood.
That's so great.
So, and it said it helped them kind of to discover the joy of reading, not just for school, but for fun.
Yeah.
So that was like.
And let me ask, and maybe this is coming just in
Sure.
general, were there any constraints on the books? For example, was there like suggested reading lists, or was it literally just like between you and your teacher, whatever your
I
teacher
don't
thinks is
know.
okay?
I'm assuming it was the teacher. That I couldn't find. They even have like little like information tabs on their website that I read
Okay.
through. I don't know. I was trying to find that. I'm assuming it's probably the teacher.
It's pretty open-ended.
Yeah, I think
which
the
I think
teacher
is
probably figures it out.
important to a program like
Oh
this.
yeah.
Because I'm thinking of even accelerated reading, or reading counts is another one that my kids had to do when they were younger. It's not required anymore, I don't think. But or even like Sunshine State books here in Florida.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sort of a list, or things are qualified.
Right.
So I think part of maybe what has made Book It so successful and people saying a love of reading is that the reading could be customized to the reader.
And I think that was kind of the goal.
Yeah.
Was the teacher who's working with kids and knows hopefully their reading, levels and abilities and kind of what they're
interests.
into. Yeah.
Exactly.
So here were some criticisms of Book It.
Okay.
All right. The first one is trusting the parent or guardian who signed the form.
Okay. So they could forge it, you mean?
Right.
Or just say
because you did have to have your parents sign.
Whoopsie.
Sign that you completed it.
Okay.
All right. So I actually read another New York Times article where the writer was saying her mom did lie on her sister's forums because the writer herself was a big reader, like I was and still am. So she didn't, it was easy for her, but her sister was not. She struggled, but they were a low income family,
Mm.
and this was before Book It had limits on how many certificates you could get. So, like and it was her younger sister. So
Got
the
it.
older sister, filled out hers, whatever. But the mom just kept adding ones for her younger sister. And so she was like, hey, it's like free food for our family. Right. Um, and so those free pizzas really helped them.
Yeah.
But then it was the writer was saying it was kind of funny because at the end of the year, there's like an award ceremony. And the teacher came up to her mom and was like, "Oh my gosh, your daughter is like our star student. All these books she read and blah blah
Oh
blah."
no.
And the writer was like, "I saw my mom lie to this teacher's face because she was trying to help our family."
Like, what are you going to do
So her
in that
her
moment?
sister got this award for reading 392 books that year.
Oh my God.
But think about it. That's 392. Well, I guess not 392 pizzas, but that's a lot of
Yeah.
pizzas that
Yeah.
help that family out.
Yeah. Like, right. So I think from Pizza Hut's standpoint, they
Right.
probably don't care because either way, they were still frequenting their business or
Well, it
whatever.
must have happened more often than not because now they have limits,
Right.
which, of course, lying is not the answer, but also I think it's a glaring spotlight, really, not a flashlight, on how our society doesn't take care of people,
Mhm.
and you have to lie to make sure your ends are met, like
Sure.
sometimes.
Sure.
But anyway, so that was one of the criticisms.
Okay.
Okay, is you have to be able to trust the adult,
Which is a valid criticism, I guess.
you know. Another criticism was that it encourages an external reward instead of the internal reward of the enjoyment of reading.
Yeah.
But as you just heard when I told you, Book
Right.
It alums said it really sparked their love of reading.
Right. I think as long, what is it, like the means meets the ends, or
Right.
the ends justify the means. So
Right.
if the end goal is a lifelong reader, then it's okay if they got
Right.
pizza along the way.
Well, and
Who cares?
sometimes you have to have that external reward first
Yeah,
before that internal reward develops.
sure.
I This is very basic, but I was thinking about potty training,
Oh
right?
God, why were you thinking about that? No, I'm just
Well,
kidding.
because I had one kid who was very easy to potty train.
Hmm.
That was Caden.
You're like, and I'm just gonna say exactly who it was.
Cooper was harder.
Yeah,
So we did have to we did have to do more of like those external things. Like you get this
sure,
many stickers on your chart and you get this for him to finally realize, okay, the internal reward of like not messing my pants and
right. Yeah,
although I guess that's externally, isn't it?
yeah,
That's not an internal. Or just knowing that, okay, I'm like in line with my peers because he was a
sure.
little late to the game with that. And so for him, it took a while. But
Yeah,
sometimes you have to have that external stuff, or even with like exercise.
yeah,
Because as a personal trainer, that in our like information before we got certified, external and internal motivation is talked about a lot. Because people who are new to exercise and fitness maybe have never done it in their life, you might need that external reward. Like, okay, if I go to the gym or go for a walk 2 times this week, then I get to buy myself a new book or something like that. Since we're talking
sure,
about reading, you might need that at first before that internal reward of, oh, I set a goal and I hit it. Like
sure.
I am, etc. So I don't know. I think we both agree on.
Yeah, I think it has its place for sure. And yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah. So,
It's tricky. I think in Book It's case, totally fine.
oh yeah,
But in general, like
it is
external
tricky.
rewards attached to stuff. But then I think about like my own kids, and it's like, yes, they should have pride in where they live. So therefore, they should like take out
Oh,
the trash and
yes.
do the dishes and all this, which I do for free, obviously. But also, like, or even in school, right? They should want to succeed at their
Yeah.
schooling. But like, I wouldn't go to my job if they didn't pay me. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
and
you
again,
would.
it's different when it's
Well,
your
yeah.
home and you need to help out. But like, I get it. You know, well, and honestly, if money didn't matter, but money does matter.
Unfortunately, you
And
have to have it to live.
and there are a lot of things I put my time to that I don't get paid for,
Oh, yeah.
or in the way that I should.
Like
as
this
in starting,
podcast.
like this podcast, yes. And even my studio businesses right now, it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm not really making a living yet.
No, but you
but
will.
I'm still doing it. But it's because eventually I would like to.
But you will.
I will.
It will happen.
I remember my word of the year: breakthrough.
Breakthrough.
Breakthrough. Here we come.
So interestingly enough, there was a psychological paper written about this in 1999. Yeah, it was published by Psychological Record.
Okay.
And it was entitled "Effects of Okay, say that word.
Extrinsic.
Okay, so even you're having a hard time with it.
Effects of extrinsic. Whoa.
Yeah.
Extrinsic reinforcement.
Okay. Effects of extrinsic. That's wrong. Whatever. Reinforcement for reading during childhood on reported reading habits of college students.
Okay.
So book it alums, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here is part of their official conclusion of the study when it was completed that they published. These results provide no support for the myth that extrinsic rewards for reading undermine intrinsic interest in reading. Rather, extrinsic rewards for reading set the conditions where, God damn it, these words.
Why do they have to use them like
I don't know.
times?
Where intrinsic motivation for reading may develop.
Right. So it's saying it's fine.
It's basically what we said.
Okay. Cool.
So there you go. But proof in the pudding.
But proof, not just us being like, I think it's fine.
But like smart people who can say those words right.
Yeah.
Proved it.
Exactly.
So there you go.
Exactly.
And then, of course, the biggest criticism is inappropriate commercialization of public schools by this big corporation. I mean, basically Pizza Hut exploiting schools for marketing purposes and for financial gain. So that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Which we kind of touched on. And that's why I have mixed feelings about it. But I feel like the positives outweigh that.
Totally. And you have to have the resources to launch a program like this. Mm-hmm. So like your average, nonprofit or grassroots organization, you might on a local level be able to pull off something like this, but not to the level that Pizza Hut did. So it is kind of like you have to have, and could they have, well, they couldn't have really done it without attaching Pizza Hut, because
I know. Then
what's the reward?
Right.
And the reward is part of that. I'm not going to say the word, but the motivation, the extrinsic. I did it.
Oh my God.
Extrinsic. It happened. Okay. Sorry, everyone. What were we talking about? Oh, so yeah, you have to have pizza.
What?
What'd you say? Like they couldn't just. So what I was hypothesizing, wow,
dang, it's really getting sciencey.
Okay, was that is there a world where Pizza Hut could have done this without putting Pizza Hut's stamp on it?
No,
but there's not, because the reward was literally their product.
Right.
So yeah, it's commercialism and it's marketing in schools, but I mean, even at my kids' schools, their sponsors put stuff in their, on Focus or in their folders or whatever. You get a coupon on a certain day to go get something. And, look, that's the way our society is. Mm-hmm. And to your point earlier, when you were talking about the mom who lied about the number of books she read, but the way that our society is set up is that it does rely on private businesses to handle a lot of social issues, which private businesses don't always do very well, but that's sort of our setup. It's like, well, that's why we have to have fundraising and organizations that go ask for sponsors, because as a society we don't do it on our own, or our government doesn't take care of it adequately. Right? I mean, that's just our setup.
It's true. It's capitalism.
We rely on that capitalism, which in some cases there are companies that take that on.
Yeah.
But, and so in this case, at least since that's how we're set up anyway, they did something good. And
I mean, I do feel like the idea came from a good place.
definitely.
Like how can we like help kids,
Mm-hmm.
But again, it came because it was hitting close to home.
Absolutely.
And and anyway, so final opinion on Book It. I'm here for it.
Me too. I hope it sticks around forever. I'm going to
40
ask my
years.
kids. I mean, I don't recall any Book It
None of
stuff
my
coming
kids have
home.
done it. I only
So
have
I
2.
can't imagine they
Yeah.
have ever done it, because I would have noticed. Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised when we lived in Missouri one of the times. And they went to school, and one of them went to school on the military base. One of them went to middle school right outside the gate, and it was a rural area. Literally, there was a Pizza Hut and a Sonic,
Mhm.
and that was it.
Okay.
For like 15 miles. So I'm surprised they didn't have a Book It
Yeah.
program there, because like, hello?
Yeah, and you don't have a lot of competing
Right.
options.
You guys, it was a rough road.
Oof.
Sorry to all my friends who still live there. I'm
But
glad
they
I'm
have a
gone.
Pizza Hut, it sounds like. So
Yeah, and it was, unfortunately, it was a pickup only.
see,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
maybe
not the
that's
same.
why though.
Maybe that's why.
Okay.
Because then you would get it to go. Yeah. I'm guessing the amount of people that do Book It now, even though it's still there, is pretty low.
Yeah, and what's funny? I just thought about that. One time, my husband's stepmom came to stay with the kids because we had to go somewhere for like 2 days, and for his job.
Mhm.
And she came to stay with them, and she was like, "Oh, let's go get something." She's so fun. Like, she's like such a fun grandma.
Aw.
And she was like, "Let's go get some food." And she's like, "Oh, there's a Pizza Hut." And in her head, she's thinking, "Oh yeah, when my kids were young, like the Pizza Hut was so fun." She's like, "We can go in, sit down." And she didn't realize it was pickup only. So she was like, "We got
Aw.
there." And she's like, "It was so disappointing because we just had to like sit there and wait for the
Wait for
pizza
to take home.
I know.
Yeah.
She's like, I was like, "Oh,
Aw.
I'm so sorry. I should have warned you." But
Yeah.
anyway, that's it. That's all I got
I
on
love
Book
it.
It.
This was so fun. And I love how it has inspired our summer reading program of our own.
Can't wait. We're going to
Cannot wait.
think
That's
of
going to be so fun.
Maybe it could be, I mean, would we get in trouble for saying Book It? Probably.
I don't know. I mean, probably not.
I mean, would they even know? Probably, because I'm going to tag them. And then why wouldn't they listen to this episode?
I guess we can find out.
Because I was saying we could do Book It 2.0.
I love that. Book It 2.0.
But like, we don't even have any money coming in. Well, we have what, like $20 a month?
I think it's like 28.
So we'd be like, y'all can sue us, but what you going to get? Nothing.
Right. True. But if we're assigning books, then it's not Book It.
Oh, facts.
You know what I mean?
Okay, we'll take it. Whatever.
Club.
All right. We can brainstorm off
We'll come
air.
up with something.
All right. Thanks, guys,
All right,
for joining
guys
us.
for joining.
Hope it was a fun trip down memory lane.
Yes.
If you like this and you want more, become a patron and get our bonus episodes.
All of them.
Yes.
No, half of them. You get half of them.
Get all of our bonus episodes. It's what, $8 a month?
$8 a month.
Help us out. And hey, what we really need though is for y'all to go give us reviews and go follow us on YouTube and join the 15 other people who follow.
It's up to 23.
Oh, okay. So y'all are listening. Also, yeah, just give us a like and a follow and share us. Share us on your socials, tag us and things. We absolutely love it when people send us things we've missed.
Yeah.
And hey, you'll get a shout out because we'll try really hard to say it on air.
Yeah.
Why do I always say on air like we're a radio show? I don't know.
Yeah. I guess we're not live, but we are like sound waves. We are broadcasting.
We are sound waves.
we are actual sound waves.
All right, guys. Till next time. See you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.